If you've started a new job in Germany, Austria, or Switzerland, you might already know this. The hardest part isn't the work itself. It's the small talk or in general connecting with your German-speaking colleagues. You want to connect, join conversations, maybe even share a laugh in the break room. But then you think, what if I don't understand them? What if I make a mistake? So you stay quiet and ultimately feel a little left out. If that sounds familiar, this video is for you. Today, I'll share simple, beginner-friendly ways to start connecting with your German-speaking colleagues. We'll talk about practical phrases, cultural tips, and how to build relationships at work, even if your German is still a work in progress. If you're new here, hallo und herzlich willkommen. I'm Salome, a native German teacher and language enthusiast. I work with people who have moved or want to move to Germany, Austria, or Switzerland and want to feel more confident speaking German in everyday life, including at work. Through my program, the German Fluency Academy, I help beginners go from zero knowledge to confident and conversational. If that's something you're aiming for as well, the best place to start is with my free beginners workshop. In it, I'll walk you through the exact roadmap to build your skills, your confidence, and your voice in German. You'll find the link in the description box below. All right, now without further ado, let's get into today's lesson. Start with small daily interactions. The easiest way to connect at work is by starting with short, friendly phrases you can use every day. However, one thing to be aware of when speaking German at work is the difference between the formal and informal you, so Sie versus du. We use Sie as the formal you, usually for strangers, elderly, or in a professional work environment. And then du you can use for friends and family. I actually dive deeper into this topic in this video right here. I'll link that below as well. This can be a little tricky to navigate, especially in the beginning. So the safest approach is to observe how your colleagues speak to each other or simply ask someone you trust, like a teammate, a supervisor, or a mentor. In many international or younger companies, it's now common to use du and the first names, even with your manager. But in more traditional workplaces, people might still stick to Sie and last names, especially when speaking with higher ups. So take a moment to check the vibes before you get too casual. You don't want to come across as rude without meaning to. Sometimes it can be quite confusing. I remember one time I did an internship at this very traditional German company, and the department head would always switch between the two. Like, they had a very casual work environment, and usually between colleagues we would just use du with each other and the first name. But with the head of department, he would always switch. So he would say Frau Salome, my first name, and then use du, or sometimes he would use Sie, but then address me with my first name. It was super confusing, and to stay on the safe side, I just used Sie all the way and just addressed him with his last name. But yeah, this topic is even for native speakers sometimes a little bit confusing. So do ask someone that you trust at your workplace, or if you already know that it's quite common to use du and the first name, then I guess you are good to go. All right, now here are a few everyday phrases that work really well in the office. Some of them you can use regardless of the formal or informal you. Of course, Guten Morgen. Guten Morgen. And repeat after me as we go through this so you can practice your pronunciation. Mahlzeit. Mahlzeit. This literally means mealtime, but it's a super common lunchtime greeting in German offices. So when you're seeing a colleague in the hallway around noontime, they might be going to the canteen or restaurant or supermarket or coming back from that, you can say Mahlzeit. Schönen Feierabend. Schönen Feierabend. Wie war dein Wochenende? Wie war dein Wochenende? Or the formal version of that would be Wie war Ihr Wochenende? Wie war Ihr Wochenende? And if you are super casual with your colleagues, you can throw in a Na, alles klar? That is a very common phrase, but also very casual, so do make sure you have checked the vibes before. Learn break room German. Lunch breaks and coffee corners are where people really bond, so even if you don't understand everything, being present and saying a few words goes a long way. Here are some easy things you can say, assuming that it's a casual work environment and you're not super formal with your colleagues. Hast du schon Mittag gemacht? Hast du schon Mittag gemacht? Ich brauche erstmal einen Kaffee. Ich brauche erstmal einen Kaffee? Magst du auch einen Kaffee? Magst du auch einen Kaffee? Was gibt's bei dir zu essen? Was gibt's bei dir zu essen? Or alternatively, you can also say, and we use this all the time, was gibt's bei dir Gutes? Was gibt's bei dir Gutes? Oh, das sieht lecker aus. Oh, das sieht lecker aus. When you're working in a German-speaking office, you'll also want to know a few practical phrases you can use with your colleagues during the workday, whether you're asking a quick question, you're giving an update, or collaborating on a task, especially if your colleagues are supportive of your German learning. I feel like most people are supportive if they know how much effort you're putting into learning German and that you're really trying. Like, for example, my student Pedro's colleagues, he redecorated the pantry and the office the other day with post-it notes after doing one of our community challenges. It was seriously so much fun. And we do fun activities like this inside our community every single week. So if you're done trying to learn German on your own and you want to join us, the best way to get started is with my free workshop for beginners, which is linked below. So here are some super useful expressions that come up all the time in daily work conversations. Hast du kurz Zeit? Hast du kurz Zeit? Ich schicke dir gleich eine E-Mail. Ich schicke dir gleich eine E-Mail. Können wir das später besprechen? Können wir das später besprechen? Ich arbeite noch daran. Ich arbeite noch daran. Alles erledigt. Alles erledigt. I think really key is being able to distinguish between this is a work meeting, so we'll keep everything in English, and we're on a coffee break, this is my chance to throw in some German. Overall, as I've mentioned, people are really supportive, but you have to take the initiative. No one is going to come to you and say, hey, I heard you're learning German, what did you study today? Partly because they don't want to put you on the spot, but if you're able to casually sprinkle in some German during everyday interactions, you'll definitely find people are encouraging and willing to engage. And if you don't want to do this alone, I'm here to help. The best way to get started is with my free training for beginners. The link is in the description box below, and I would love to see you there. And if you want to learn more business German, check out this video next, where we dive into more phrases you can add to your office lingo. I hope you have found this lesson helpful. I'll be back next week with another lesson for you guys. Das ist alles für heute. Vielen Dank fürs Zuschauen und bis zum nächsten Mal. Tschüss!